The Vraxian warship emerged from hyperspace like a predator breaking the surface of dark waters. Its crystalline hull caught the light of Alpha Centauri, fracturing it into rainbow patterns that belied its deadly purpose. On the bridge of the Earth vessel Prometheus, Captain Sarah Chen watched the alien ship approach through narrowed eyes. This was humanity's first contact with an advanced civilization, but something felt wrong. "They're not responding to our hails, Captain," Lieutenant Rivera reported from his communications station. "No response on any frequency." The Prometheus represented humanity's proudest achievement, their first faster-than-light capable ship. After decades of preparation, Earth had finally reached the stars, ready to join the galactic community. The ship carried Earth's finest diplomats, scientists, and a carefully chosen first contact team. "Keep broadcasting peaceful intentions," Chen ordered, her hand unconsciously touching the worn silver pendant at her neck, a reminder of Earth, of home. "All frequencies, all known linguistic patterns." The Vraxian ship drew closer, its crystalline structure seemingly alive with shifting patterns of light. It was beautiful, Chen thought, but in the way a cobra was beautiful, deadly grace wrapped in hypnotic colors. Energy spike. The tactical officer's warning came too late. The Vraxian beam cut through the Prometheus like a scalpel through tissue paper. Their shields, considered Earth's most advanced technology, might as well have been tissue paper. Chen had just enough time to slam her hand down on the emergency broadcast beacon before the second beam struck. "This is Captain Chen of the Earth ship Prometheus," she managed through gritted teeth as alarms screamed around her. "We are under unprovoked attack. The aggressors are." The transmission cut off as the bridge erupted in flames. The destruction of the Prometheus took less than 3 minutes. When it was over, the Vraxian ship transmitted a single message toward Earth: "You are not ready." On Earth, the response was not what the Vraxians expected. There was no public panic, no desperate pleas for mercy, no hasty attempts at diplomacy. Instead, in an emergency session of the United Earth Council, Admiral David Torres stood before the assembled leaders of humanity with a proposal that would change the course of history. "The Vraxians think they've taught us a lesson," Torres said, his voice carrying to every corner of the chamber. "They think we'll cower in our solar system, licking our wounds. They don't understand humanity." He paused, looking at each council member in turn. "I propose Operation Dark Mirror." The plan was audacious, perhaps insane. Earth would appear to retreat, to withdraw from galactic affairs entirely. But in reality, they would prepare. Not just militarily, but fundamentally. Every aspect of human civilization would be reorganized for a single purpose: survival. "We'll need everyone," Torres continued. "Scientists, engineers, workers, soldiers. We'll build in secret, develop in silence, prepare in shadow. When we return, it won't be as supplicants begging for a place at the galactic table. We'll return ready to fight for our right to exist." The vote was unanimous. Within 24 hours, Earth began its great deception. All outbound communications ceased. Trading posts were abandoned. Observation posts went dark. To the galaxy, it appeared that humanity had retreated in fear. Deep beneath the surface of Mars, engineers began work on revolutionary propulsion systems. In vast chambers under Earth's oceans, scientists developed weapons that bent the laws of physics. On the dark side of the moon, shipyards took shape, hidden from prying eyes. The Vraxians watched with satisfaction as human activity in space dwindled to nothing. Occasionally, their patrol ships would pass through the Sol system, scanning for signs of development. They found only abandoned stations and quiet planets. If they detected the occasional energy spike or gravitational anomaly, they dismissed it as background radiation or sensor malfunction. 5 years passed. Then 10. The galaxy began to forget about the primitive species that had briefly ventured beyond its solar system. Even the Vraxians reduced their patrols, confident that humanity had learned its lesson. But in the shadows of their solar system, humanity had not been idle. They had taken the Vraxians' dismissal and turned it into their greatest advantage. Every ignored energy spike was a weapons test. Every overlooked gravitational anomaly was a new ship being built. Every quiet moment was filled with preparation. Admiral Torres, now with more gray in his hair but the same fire in his eyes, stood in the central command chamber deep beneath the Mariana Trench. Around him, holographic displays showed the fruit of humanity's decade of labor, a fleet unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. "Status report," he commanded. "Ghost Fleet is ready, sir," his aide reported. "Quantum shields are at full capacity. Gravity lance weapons are primed. Stealth systems are operational across all vessels." Torres nodded, touching the piece of the Prometheus's hull that hung on the wall of his office. "Send the signal. Operation Dark Mirror enters its final phase." Across the solar system, humanity's hidden forces began to move. Ships emerged from their secret berths, their hulls absorbing light rather than reflecting it. They gathered in the shadow of Jupiter, a fleet born of necessity and forged in silence. The galaxy was about to learn a crucial lesson: when humanity goes quiet, it's not out of fear, it's out of focus. And now, that focus was about to be revealed. The silent strike was over. The counterstrike was about to begin. The Great Deception required more than just technological advancement, it demanded a complete transformation of human society. In the decade following the Prometheus incident, Earth changed in ways that would have been unimaginable before the attack. Deep beneath the Olympus Mons on Mars, Dr. Maya Patel stood before a towering quantum reactor, its core pulsing with contained energy that defied conventional physics. She'd been 25 when the Prometheus was destroyed. Now, at 35, she'd helped create something that would have seemed like magic 10 years ago. "Power output is stable at 300% above theoretical maximum," she reported into her neural link. "The quantum compression field is holding." Around her, dozens of engineers monitored systems that channeled energy in ways that pre-attack humanity couldn't have imagined. The quantum reactor wasn't just a power source, it was a symbol of how far humanity had come. In the aftermath of the Vraxian attack, Earth scientists had been freed from conventional thinking. When survival is at stake, impossible becomes merely challenging. In orbit around Jupiter's moon Europa, Commander James Chen, Sarah Chen's younger brother, observed the final tests of the gravity lance technology. The weapon had been inspired by his sister's last transmission, a detailed analysis of how the Vraxian beam had cut through the Prometheus's shields. "Target drone is in position," his weapons officer reported. "Reading standard Vraxian-type shields at full power." Chen gave the order. "Fire." The gravity lance didn't emit a beam or launch a projectile. Instead, it created a localized distortion in spacetime itself. The target drone didn't so much explode as collapse, crushed by forces that bent reality itself. "Direct hit," the weapons officer announced unnecessarily. "Shield penetration 100%. Chen nodded, thinking of his sister. "She would have appreciated the irony," he murmured. "They taught us how to beat them." But weapons and power sources were just the beginning. In the asteroid belt, automated factories worked tirelessly, breaking down entire asteroids and converting them into advanced materials. The process had been developed by Dr. Yuki Tanaka, who had revolutionized matter manipulation at the quantum level. Each asteroid provided materials for new ships, each one more advanced than the last. The factories themselves were invisible to conventional sensors, their power signatures masked by revolutionary stealth technology developed in the labs beneath Earth's oceans. In those same oceanic labs, Dr. Marcus Williams led the team that had cracked the code of quantum entanglement communications. The breakthrough came from studying the fragment of the Vraxian transmission that had accompanied the Prometheus's destruction. "They gave us the key to their own undoing," Williams often said. "Every piece of their technology, every demonstration of their superiority, became a lesson we studied and improved upon." The greatest achievement, however, was the Ghost Fleet itself. Hidden in dimensional pockets throughout the solar system, the ships represented everything humanity had learned and developed. Their hulls were made of metamaterials that absorbed or redirected all forms of energy. Their quantum cores powered shields that didn't just block attacks but redirected them. Their gravity lances could tear apart space itself. Admiral Torres surveyed the fleet from his command center, now relocated to Titan. The holographic displays showed hundreds of ships, each one a testament to human determination and ingenuity. Final status report, he ordered. His aide, Commander Sarah Martinez, began the summary. Ghost Fleet is at full strength. 300 capital ships, 700 support vessels. All crews have completed advanced combat training in the virtual systems. Quantum shield network is synchronized across all vessels. Gravity lance targeting systems are calibrated and linked. She paused, bringing up a new display. Intelligence reports the Vraxians have maintained their standard patrol patterns. Their nearest major fleet is stationed at Proxima Centauri. They still believe we're hiding in our system, licking our wounds. Torres allowed himself a grim smile. And the rest of the galaxy? As expected, sir. Most species have forgotten about us. Those that remember think we're a cautionary tale, the primitive species that reached too far, too fast. The Admiral nodded, touching the command console. A new hologram appeared, a complete map of known space, with Vraxian territories highlighted in red. Begin final deployment. Operation Dark Mirror enters its concluding phase in 48 hours. Across the solar system, hidden ships began powering up their quantum cores. In underground bases and underwater facilities, crews made their way to their vessels. On Mars, Earth, and the Moon, the last of the new technologies were installed and tested. The greatest deception in human history was about to end. The galaxy had watched humanity retreat into shadows, believing they had witnessed the collapse of a species' ambitions. Instead, they had watched humanity forge itself into something new, something stronger. In her lab on Mars, Dr. Patel ran one final diagnostic on the quantum reactor. In Europa orbit, Commander Chen completed the last targeting drill with his gravity lance. In the asteroid belt, the invisible factories completed their final ships. In the oceanic labs, Dr. Williams sent the last test signal through the quantum entanglement network. Humanity was ready. The shadows had served their purpose. The time for hiding was over. In his command center, Admiral Torres gave the order that would begin humanity's return to galactic society. Send the signal. All ships, prepare for Phase 3. The Ghost Fleet began to move, each ship emerging from its dimensional pocket like a predator rising from deep waters. The counterstrike was about to begin, and the galaxy was about to learn why you should never mistake patience for weakness, or preparation for fear. The shadows had forged humanity into something new, something unexpected. Now it was time to step into the light. The Vraxian patrol ship Crystal Blade drifted through the outer edges of the Sol system, its crew performing their routine scans with practiced boredom. These patrols had become ceremonial, a reminder to the humans of their place in the galaxy, rather than a necessary security measure. Another empty scan, Sub-Commander Vex reported, his crystalline appendages clicking in mild frustration. 10 years, and these primitives still hide in their little worlds. The ship's commander, Zartel, didn't respond immediately. Something had been bothering him about the Sol system lately. Tiny discrepancies in gravitational readings, occasional energy spikes that shouldn't exist. But before he could voice his concerns, every alarm on the bridge screamed to life. Space itself seemed to tear open around them. Where there had been empty void moments before, hundreds of ships now existed. They appeared simultaneously, emerging from dimensional pockets that shouldn't have been possible for any known civilization to create. The human ships were unlike anything the Vraxians had ever seen. Their hulls seemed to drink in light rather than reflect it, making them look like moving pieces of the void itself. They moved with impossible grace, their formations precise and purposeful. "By the Crystal Lords," Vex whispered. "What are we seeing?" Commander Zartel never got a chance to respond. A focused gravitational distortion from the nearest human vessel crushed the crystal blade into a space smaller than a molecule. Aboard the Ghost Fleet flagship Prometheus II, Admiral Torres watched the tactical display with calm satisfaction. "First contact protocols complete," he announced dryly. "Begin Phase 3. The Ghost Fleet moved with choreographed precision, each ship taking its designated position. They had rehearsed this moment countless times in simulation. Now, reality matched their preparation perfectly. Throughout the galaxy, quantum entanglement communicators activated simultaneously. In every major species government center, on every significant world, in every important installation, the same message played. "This is Admiral David Torres of the Earth Defense Force. 10 years ago, you witnessed the destruction of our ship Prometheus. You watched us retreat. You thought we were hiding. You were wrong. We were preparing. We will no longer accept the role of primitive species to be dismissed or destroyed at will. The galaxy changes today." In the Vraxian High Command, crystalline beings who had never known fear felt it for the first time as their long-range sensors detected human ships appearing throughout their territory. Ships that their sensors couldn't properly track, using technology they couldn't understand. The Ghost Fleet's first targets were military, Vraxian weapon platforms, defense installations, and patrol ships disappeared in carefully coordinated strikes. Each attack demonstrated a different aspect of human technological advancement, each one showing the galaxy just how far humanity had come. "Sir," Commander Martinez reported, "Vraxian response fleets are mobilizing from Proxima Centauri." Torres nodded. They had expected this. "Deploy Phase 3B. Throughout the Proxima Centauri system, dimensional pockets opened once again. But this time, instead of ships, they revealed massive structures, automated defense platforms that humanity had secretly constructed and positioned years ago. The Vraxian fleets found themselves caught in a web of gravitational distortions and quantum field disruptions. Their crystalline ships, once considered the epitome of space warfare technology, were now hopelessly outmatched. In the Galactic Council chambers, representatives from various species watched in stunned silence as humanity demonstrated just how thoroughly they had transformed themselves. The species that many had dismissed as primitive was revealing capabilities that bordered on the impossible. "Status report," Torres commanded. "All primary targets neutralized," Martinez responded. "Vraxian military capability reduced to 30%. Their remaining forces are in disarray. No civilian targets engaged. Total human casualties, 0. Torres allowed himself a small smile. "Send the secondary message." Throughout Vraxian space, another transmission began. "To the Vraxian High Command, we could continue this demonstration, but that would be unnecessary. We don't seek your destruction. We seek acknowledgement of our right to exist as equals. Your response will determine our next actions." The message was measured, controlled, exactly like everything humanity had done since the destruction of the first Prometheus. There was no rage, no revenge-driven destruction. Every action was calculated, every target chosen with surgical precision. In the Vraxian High Command, the Crystal Lords faced a reality they had never imagined. The species they had dismissed as primitives had not only matched their technology but surpassed it. The humans hadn't just learned to travel through space, they had learned to bend it to their will. As the galaxy watched, humanity's message became clear: they had used their decade of isolation not to hide, but to evolve. They had taken their defeat and turned it into the foundation of their renaissance. Operation Phoenix wasn't just about military victory, it was about transformation. Humanity had emerged from its chrysalis, reborn into something new. They had turned their greatest defeat into the catalyst for their greatest advancement. In his command center, Admiral Torres watched as the Vraxian High Command's response came in. The galaxy was changing, and humanity had engineered that change from the shadows. The time for hiding was over. The time for equality had begun. The Centauri Gate, an ancient spatial anomaly that served as the primary trade route between three galactic sectors, became the site of humanity's greatest test. Despite their initial losses, the Vraxians had one final card to play: the combined Crystal Fleet, their most powerful armada, hidden in deep space for exactly such a catastrophic scenario. High Admiral Kvax of the Vraxian Combined Fleet watched the tactical display with cold determination. Under his command were 500 of the most advanced Vraxian warships ever constructed, each incorporating technology that had been kept secret from the rest of the galaxy. The humans are powerful, he addressed his fleet commanders, but they have never faced the true might of the Crystal Empire. Today, we remind the galaxy why we have ruled for 10,000 years. The human Ghost Fleet, under Admiral Torres's command, had positioned itself near the Centauri Gate. Intelligence had confirmed the Vraxians' desperate gambit, and Torres had chosen this location carefully. If there was to be a final battle, it would be here, where the galaxy could witness it. Multiple hyperspace signatures detected, Commander Martinez announced on the Prometheus II's bridge. 500+ Vraxian vessels. Energy readings, sir, these are different from anything we've encountered. Torres studied the incoming fleet. The Vraxian ships were larger, their crystalline structures glowing with internal energy that defied their usual patterns. They've been holding back, he mused. Good. So have we. The Vraxian fleet emerged from hyperspace in attack formation, their ships arranging themselves in a three-dimensional crystal lattice pattern that amplified their combined power. Energy began to flow between the ships, creating a network of devastating potential. To the human fleet, High Admiral Kvax transmitted, "Your advancement is impressive, but ultimately futile. Surrender now, and we will show mercy." Torres's response was not in words. Instead, he gave a simple command: execute pattern Prometheus. The Ghost Fleet began to move in ways that should have been impossible for ships of their size. The quantum engines that Dr. Patel had developed allowed them to manipulate spacetime itself for movement. Ships appeared to blink in and out of existence, their positions becoming probability clouds rather than fixed points. The battle began with a Vraxian assault that would have annihilated any conventional fleet. Crystalline energy beams, magnified by their lattice formation, lanced out toward the human ships. But the quantum shields developed in humanity's hidden laboratories didn't just block the attacks, they caught them, redirected them, used them. Pattern Prometheus, Phase 2, Torres ordered. The Ghost Fleet's response was devastating. Gravity lances struck with surgical precision, targeting key nodes in the Vraxian lattice formation. Ships equipped with Dr. Williams's quantum entanglement technology coordinated with perfect synchronization, each strike calculated to create cascade failures through the enemy fleet's energy network. But the Vraxians were not easily defeated. Their secret fleet had been built for endurance, for power, for the absolute assertion of their dominance. They adapted, their ships rearranging into new formations, bringing weapons to bear that they had held in reserve for centuries. The battle transformed the space around the Centauri Gate into a maelstrom of physics-defying warfare. Gravity waves distorted space itself. Quantum fields collapsed and reformed. Ships phased between dimensions, appearing and disappearing in deadly dances of destruction. From his flagship, High Admiral Kvax watched in growing concern as the humans demonstrated capability after capability that his intelligence had never suspected. How? He demanded. How did they advance so far, so fast? The answer came from his own tactical officer: "Sir, they're using our own principles against us, but they've taken them further than we ever did. They didn't just copy our technology. They understood it, improved it, evolved it." In the command center of the Prometheus II, Torres received damage reports from across his fleet. The Vraxians were formidable, their secret weapons taking a toll even on humanity's advanced defenses. But every loss, every hit, every moment of the battle was being analyzed, adapted to, improved upon. "Sir," Martinez reported, "the enemy fleet is attempting to establish a resonance pattern between their ships. Energy readings are off the scale." Torres nodded. They had anticipated this too. "Execute final protocol." Throughout the Ghost Fleet, quantum cores pulsed in unison. The dimensional technology that had hidden humanity's preparations for a decade activated simultaneously across hundreds of ships. Space itself seemed to fold around the Vraxian fleet. High Admiral Kvax realized too late what was happening. The humans hadn't just mastered space travel or weapons technology, they had learned to manipulate the fabric of spacetime itself. His fleet found itself caught in a web of intersecting dimensional pockets, their carefully arranged formation shattered. To all Vraxian ships, Torres transmitted, "Your fleet is now contained within a quantum fold network. Each dimensional pocket is configured to your ship-specific energy signatures. Surrender, and we collapse the network safely. Continue fighting, and we collapse it destructively. The choice is yours." For the first time in their history, the Vraxian Crystal Empire faced not just defeat, but comprehension of how thoroughly they had been outmaneuvered. Their secret fleet, their final weapon, had been countered by defenses and strategies specifically designed to neutralize it. The Battle of Centauri Gate lasted less than 6 hours, but its impact would reshape galactic civilization for millennia to come. The Vraxians surrendered, their undefeated fleet now trapped in humanity's dimensional web, their technological supremacy decisively broken. As the galaxy watched, humanity had proven not just their military might, but their capacity for strategic genius. They had turned a decade of apparent hiding into the most complete technological and tactical revolution in known space. The age of Vraxian dominance was over. The era of human innovation had begun. The Great Hall of Concordance, newly constructed in Earth orbit, represented everything humanity had fought to achieve. Its architecture blended elements from every major galactic civilization, but its quantum-engineered structure showcased humanity's new mastery of science and technology. 5 years had passed since the Battle of Centauri Gate. Admiral Torres, now serving as Earth's representative to the reformed Galactic Council, stood at the hall's observation deck, watching ships from dozens of species move through space with practiced precision. Among them, the distinctive silhouettes of human vessels moved like shadows among stars, a quiet reminder of how much had changed. "Remarkable how quickly they adapted," Dr. Maya Patel said, joining him at the window. She had traded her laboratory uniform for diplomatic attire, now serving as Earth's chief scientific liaison to the galaxy. 5 years ago, most species wouldn't even acknowledge our existence. Now they send their brightest minds to study at our academies. Torres nodded. The transformation had been profound but carefully managed. Humanity had emerged victorious but not vengeful, powerful but not tyrannical. They had used their leverage not to dominate, but to reform. The Vraxians, their crystal empire shattered, had undergone the most dramatic change. Their new leadership, younger and humbled by defeat, had embraced reform. Their advanced technology, once hoarded, now contributed to a new era of galactic cooperation. "The Quantum Engineering Conference begins in an hour," Patel reminded him. "The Vraxian delegation is particularly interested in our latest developments in dimensional stability theory." The conference represented everything humanity had hoped to achieve: open exchange of knowledge, collaborative advancement, mutual respect among species. The very technology that had won the war now served to build peace. In lunar orbit, Commander James Chen supervised training exercises where human and alien crews learned to work together. The Ghost Fleet's tactics and technology were no longer secrets to be hidden but lessons to be shared, with appropriate precautions. Looking back, Torres mused, our greatest victory wasn't technological or military. It was proving that advancement doesn't have to come at the cost of others' dignity. Earth itself had changed. Cities now stretched into the sky and deep underground, incorporating technologies from across the galaxy. But they remained distinctly human, a blend of innovation and tradition that characterized humanity's approach to their new role. The quantum communication network, once used to coordinate humanity's revelation to the galaxy, now connected civilizations in ways previously unimaginable. Ideas flowed freely, cultural exchange flourished, and the barriers between species began to dissolve. In a symbolic gesture, the fragment of the original Prometheus had been incorporated into the Great Hall's central chamber. Around it, a quantum field displayed images from human history, from their first steps into space to their emergence as a galactic power. It served as a reminder of how far they had come, and why. The council session will begin soon. Martinez, now a senior diplomatic officer, approached them. The Trade Federation has submitted their proposal for expanding the Quantum Gate network. The new network, based on humanity's dimensional pocket technology, would revolutionize galactic travel and commerce. But more importantly, its construction would require cooperation between all major species, strengthening the bonds of the reformed galaxy. As Torres prepared for the council session, he reflected on the decade of silence that had changed everything. Humanity had entered the galactic stage as apparent primitives, retreated as presumed cowards, and returned as innovators. But their greatest achievement was what they did with victory, building a future where advancement meant elevation for all, not dominance by few. Send word to Earth, he instructed Martinez. The education initiative is approved. We'll begin accepting students from all member species at our quantum engineering academies next cycle. The initiative would share humanity's knowledge while ensuring that safeguards remained in place. Never again would one species hold such a technological advantage over others. Never again would pride and power determine the worth of a civilization. In the decades that followed, historians would mark the Battle of Centauri Gate as the end of one era and the beginning of another. But the true transformation had begun years earlier, in the shadows of Earth's solar system, when humanity chose to turn defeat into opportunity, isolation into innovation, and victory into peace. As the council chamber filled with representatives from across the galaxy, Torres took his seat among equals. The human delegates no longer needed to prove their worth or demonstrate their power. They had earned their place not just through strength, but through wisdom. The age of singular dominion was over. The era of unified advancement had begun. And humanity, once dismissed as primitives, now stood as guardians of a new galactic order, not through force, but through the very innovation and determination that had freed them. The stars above Earth shone on a civilization transformed, a galaxy renewed, and a future where the combined strength of all species reached for achievements yet unimagined. The darkness had passed. A new dawn had truly begun.